You'll never be enough for me, Noah, Vanessa spat, her voice trembling with pride and poison. I'm tired of struggling beside a man who can't even afford his own dreams. Julian can give me the life you never will, so sign the divorce papers because I'm marrying your best friend. The entire courtroom went silent. Even the judge stopped mid-sentence. Julian Blake, the man standing behind her, straightened his suit, pretending not to enjoy the attention. Across the room, Noah Carter didn't speak. He didn't even blink. He just looked at her, calm, almost sorrowful, as if her words had confirmed what he already knew. Vanessa's hand trembled slightly on the divorce papers. She expected Noah to beg, to argue, maybe even to shout. But instead, he placed his pen down neatly and said, "If that's what you want, Vanessa, I'll sign." His voice was quiet, too calm for a man who had just been replaced by his best friend. Vanessa swallowed hard, masking the flicker of guilt in her chest. The judge cleared his throat, breaking the silence. "So noted. Mrs. Reed, you're requesting an expedited dissolution on the grounds of irreconcilable differences." Vanessa nodded stiffly. "Yes, Your Honor. And I intend to remarry." "To whom?" Vanessa took a shallow breath. "Julian Blake." The judge raised his brows slightly but said nothing more. Noah's eyes shifted toward Julian, who gave a practiced, almost rehearsed smile, the kind people wear when they've already won. Noah turned a small brass key in his hand, engraved CB12. Vanessa had seen that key before hanging on his keychain, always polished, never used. She once joked that maybe it opened a door to a dream he couldn't reach. Now she figured it probably went to some dusty storage locker full of old computer parts. The judge's gavel struck softly. Divorce granted. Julian placed his arm around Vanessa, and they turned to leave, but Noah's voice stopped them. "Vanessa," he said gently, "wait." She hesitated. He reached into his jacket and handed her a manila envelope. "For you. It's the deposit for the old apartment and a few receipts. From our wedding." Vanessa blinked. "I don't want your pity." Noah smiled faintly. "It's not pity. It's closure." Julian placed his hand on Vanessa's back, steering her toward the exit. "Come on, babe. You don't owe him anything." Outside, the sun glared off the courthouse glass. Reporters lingered nearby, unaware that they'd just missed the most ironic story of the year. Vanessa exhaled, her tone sharp. "I just couldn't keep living like that, Julian. Fixing laptops, stretching paychecks, counting rent money. I wanted more." Julian smirked, pulling her close. "And now you'll have it. You made the right choice." Behind them, Noah stepped out into the daylight, pocketing the brass key. Across the street, a black SUV idled. The driver, a woman in gray with sharp bangs, Ms. Halvorson, stepped out, nodding subtly at him. Vanessa didn't see it, but Julian did. Ms. Halvorson's voice carried across the wind. 7 years and 1 day, Mr. Carter. Just as your grandmother required." Noah nodded slightly. The day came sooner than love did. Vanessa turned her head at the sound of his voice, just in time to see Ms. Halvorson hand him a white envelope sealed with red wax, stamped with an oaken lantern crest. Vanessa frowned. "Julian, what's that?" Julian forced a laugh. "Probably a donation receipt. He volunteers with nonprofits, remember?" Vanessa didn't look convinced. "Nonprofits don't use wax seals." "Van, let it go," Julian said, his voice tightening. "He's your past. I'm your future." As they walked toward Julian's car, Vanessa's phone buzzed. It was a message from her sister, Alyssa. "Why is Noah's name on this article?" Attached was a photo from the Arlington Preservation Fund's website, a man, sleeves rolled up, directing workers at a historic estate. The caption read, "Noah Carter, Field Director, overseeing the restoration of the Arlington Estates project." Vanessa's breath caught. "Julian, this can't be the same Noah, right? He doesn't even have a passport." Julian's jaw flexed. "Coincidence? Forget it." But Vanessa couldn't. Not after seeing that crest again, the same one stamped on the envelope Ms. Halvorson had given him. As Noah entered the waiting SUV, Vanessa whispered under her breath, "Why does he look so calm? Like he's the one who just won." From a distance, another car idled, a sleek black coupe. Behind its tinted glass, Kendall Ruiz, Julian's secret mistress, filmed everything on her phone with a smirk. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life, sweetheart," she whispered. The SUV door closed. Noah glanced once through the window, not with anger, not even regret, but with quiet certainty. The kind of certainty that only a man who owns everything can afford to have. The night after the divorce, Noah Carter sat alone in his dim apartment, the only light coming from a single desk lamp. He placed the CB12 key on the table beside the antique pen and exhaled slowly. The world thought he was broke. Even his ex-wife believed it. And that was the point. He opened a worn leather folder. Inside were old letters sealed with the same oaken lantern crest Vanessa had seen. The top one was written in elegant cursive. 7 years of silence. No disclosure of inheritance, no display of wealth, and no use of influence until your 33rd birthday. Only then will the Arlington estate be yours. Eleanor Arlington. Noah's grandmother had crafted that rule to test love. She wanted to know if any woman would stay with her heir for himself, not his money. Noah had thought Vanessa would pass the test. But love, he realized now, had failed the moment she measured his worth in dollars. He closed the folder and rubbed his temples. His grandmother's lawyer, Ms. Halvorson, had been right. Wealth doesn't test love, it exposes it. Meanwhile, across town, Vanessa and Julian sat in a candlelit restaurant, celebrating their engagement. The waiter poured champagne and Julian raised his glass. To new beginnings, he said. Vanessa smiled, but her mind wasn't at peace. You saw that woman, didn't you? The one who gave Noah that envelope. Julian's jaw tightened. She's probably some charity rep. Noah volunteers sometimes. But that crest. Vanessa, he interrupted sharply, forcing a smile. You're overthinking again. The tone silenced her, but not her thoughts. She'd spent 5 years with Noah. He'd been quiet, yes, but never desperate. Even broke, he always looked in control. That haunted her now. Just then Julian's phone buzzed. He turned it face down. Vanessa's eyes flicked to the screen, catching a preview before it dimmed. Kendall R. You promised me answers. Julian noticed her glance. Business call, he said quickly. Client from Phoenix. But Vanessa wasn't convinced. Since when do your clients wear perfume and text you at midnight? He forced a laugh. Since they started paying. Vanessa looked away, her chest tightening with something ugly and familiar doubt. Across the city, Kendall Ruiz sat in her apartment, scrolling through photos on her phone. One showed her and Julian at a hotel bar, his hand around her waist. Another showed Noah outside the courthouse, the wax-sealed envelope in his hand. She zoomed in on the crest. The same crest she'd seen once before on a foundation check that Julian bragged about cashing years ago. Kendall smirked. So it's true, she whispered. The quiet one's the money. She clicked record on a voice note and spoke softly. Julian, if you don't tell me the truth about Noah, I will. She hit send. The next morning, Noah was at the clinic, fixing a broken computer when Ms. Halvorson appeared at the door. Mr. Carter, she said, stepping inside, the board wants confirmation. You intend to accept the inheritance, correct? Noah nodded quietly. Once the transfer finalizes, I'll take the chair position. Good, she said, then paused. Your ex-wife made her choice. You owe her nothing now. I know, he murmured. But she still deserves to understand what she lost. Not to punish her, just to show her what love without patience costs. Halvorson studied him. Your grandmother would have approved. Later that night, Julian was pacing his office, phone pressed to his ear. Kendall, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about, Kendall said coldly. You've been digging into Noah for years, hoping to expose something. But you missed it, Julian. You didn't realize you were standing next to a billionaire every time you called him your broke buddy. Julian froze. Where did you hear that? I hear things. And I see things. She paused. Like the card in his blazer, Arlington Preservation Fund. You stole it at that gala, remember? I still have the photo. Julian's voice dropped. What do you want? Kendall smiled through the phone. Simple. A seat at your new company when you marry Vanessa. Payback for my silence. Otherwise, I'll show her everything, every text, every photo, every lie. Julian clenched his jaw. You'd ruin me. I'd make you honest, she shot back. He ended the call and slumped into his chair, sweat gathering on his palms. Meanwhile, Vanessa sat in her living room, scrolling through the same article Alyssa had sent earlier, Noah's photo under the Arlington crest. The same calm eyes. The same steady hands. Something about it didn't add up. She whispered to herself, Noah Carter, who are you really? Outside her window, thunder rumbled as if the universe itself was answering that question. And across town, Noah locked the CB12 key in a small wooden box beside Eleanor's pen. 7 years, he whispered. You asked for love. I gave it. Now it's time for truth. 2 weeks later, Vanessa Reed stood before a full-length mirror inside the bridal suite of Seattle's Glass Pavilion. The satin of her dress shimmered under golden light, and her reflection looked perfect, too perfect. She had the ring, the venue, and the man who promised her everything Noah couldn't. So why did she feel like she was standing in someone else's dream? Marlene, her wedding planner, was pacing with a clipboard. Vanessa, smile more. You're marrying a man with real money now. The press will be here any minute. Vanessa forced a laugh, but her stomach twisted. The word money hit her harder than she expected. She'd said yes to Julian because she wanted stability, but lately stability felt like a cage. Her phone buzzed again, another message from her sister, Alyssa. Van, I don't think that Noah article was fake. You need to see this. Attached was a new photo, Noah standing before a grand stone mansion under renovation. The brass plate beside the gate read Arlington Estates CB12. Vanessa froze. The key. That same engraving. Julian, she called, stepping out of the suite. We need to talk. He was in the hallway adjusting his cufflinks, phone pressed to his ear. When he saw her, he quickly ended the call. Everything okay, babe? Her eyes narrowed. Who were you talking to? He forced a smile. The florist. They forgot to deliver the orchids. Or was it Kendall? Julian's smile faltered. You're jealous over my trainer now? Stop lying to me, Vanessa snapped. You've been acting strange ever since the courthouse. You're hiding something. Julian's jaw tightened. You're imagining things. No, she said firmly, holding up her phone. You remember this? Arlington Estates? That's Noah's name on their board list. He's not some broke technician, Julian. Julian snatched the phone from her hand before she could finish. Enough. I'm not talking about that man on our wedding day. His tone made her flinch. What are you so afraid of? She asked quietly. Julian didn't answer. He just walked away, phone buzzing in his hand. The screen flashed Kendall R. You better not screw me over. Vanessa saw it. Her hands went cold. Meanwhile, across the city, Noah Carter stepped out of the back seat of a black SUV. He was dressed in a charcoal suit, eyes calm, posture confident. He handed the CB12 key to Ms. Halvorsen, who stood by the gates of Lantern's End, one of the Arlington family estates. Everything is prepared, Mr. Carter, she said. The board will announce your appointment tonight. Noah nodded. And the media? They'll know tomorrow morning. By then, the wedding will be over. He looked at the key one last time before locking it inside a small box. I don't want revenge, he said quietly. But truth deserves a stage. Back at the glass pavilion, Vanessa's doubt turned into panic. Her phone buzzed again, this time, a message from an unknown number. If you want to know the truth about your fiancé, meet me at Larkspur Cafe in 20 minutes. Don't tell Julian. Kr. Kendall Ruiz. Vanessa hesitated, then grabbed her coat. At Larkspur Cafe, Kendall sat at a corner table, sunglasses on, iced coffee untouched. She smiled as Vanessa approached. You look beautiful, she said. Almost makes me feel bad for what I'm about to show you. Vanessa sat down slowly. What do you want? Kendall slid her phone across the table. On the screen was a photo Julian and Kendall at a hotel bar, his arm around her waist. Another video showed him saying, once she leaves him, it's our turn. I'll make her think I'm her savior. Vanessa's stomach dropped. You were sleeping with him, while I was still married to Noah. Kendall leaned forward. Oh, sweetheart, it's worse. He used you. He wanted to marry you before the world found out Noah's secret. Because once the media exposes who Noah really is, Julian's the man who took his place. What secret? Vanessa whispered. Kendall smiled thinly. Your poor ex-husband is one of the richest men in America, the Arlington heir. And tonight, his silence ends. Vanessa's pulse raced. You're lying. Kendall shrugged. Then go see for yourself. That night, as storm clouds gathered, Vanessa drove aimlessly through the city until her headlights caught something familiar, Harrington Gate, an iron arch at the edge of town. A guard stood there beside a stone sign that read, Arlington Estate Private Access. A black SUV rolled up and the guard waved it through. Vanessa gasped when she saw the driver Noah. The guard greeted him respectfully. Evening, Mr. Carter. Her hand trembled. Mr. Carter, she repeated under her breath. She parked behind a tree and watched as Noah's car disappeared down the long road. Her phone buzzed one last time, another message from Alyssa. Breaking news. Arlington Foundation appoints new executive chairman, Noah Carter. Vanessa's world stopped. Her vision blurred. The man she had called poor. The man she had humiliated in court. The man she divorced to marry his best friend. was now the billionaire heir to a $60 billion empire, and she had just walked away from him forever. The glass pavilion gleamed like a jewel against the night sky, filled with laughter, camera flashes, and the sound of expensive champagne being poured into crystal glasses. To everyone present, it looked like a perfect wedding. But perfection was about to shatter. The music softened as the officiant lifted his voice. If anyone here knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. The doors swung open. Gasps echoed through the hall. 3 figures walked in. Kendall Ruiz, dressed in black, calm and unbothered. Ms. Halvorson, holding a leather folio with a golden seal. And behind them, Noah Carter, in a tailored charcoal suit that looked like quiet power itself. Julian's face went pale. Vanessa's heart stopped. "Noah?" she whispered, barely audible. He didn't look angry. Just composed, too composed. The kind of calm that made everyone else nervous. Kendall stepped forward first. "Sorry for the interruption," she said, voice sharp. "But before you make a lifelong mistake, Vanessa, you should know exactly who you're marrying." The room erupted in whispers. Cameras clicked. Julian clenched his jaw. "Kendall, this isn't the place." "Oh, I think it's exactly the place," she snapped. "You lied to her. You lied to everyone. You told me you'd marry her for money before Noah's inheritance went public. But the joke's on you, Julian." She turned toward Noah. "Because he's not broke anymore." The crowd turned. Vanessa's head was spinning. Inheritance? What inheritance? That's when Miss Halvorson stepped forward. She spoke with the authority of a judge. "Noah Carter, formerly known as Noah Arlington, is the rightful heir and newly appointed executive chairman of the Arlington Estates Trust. He inherits properties, corporations, and an estimated $60 billion in assets, per the will of his late grandmother, Eleanor Arlington." The room froze. The officiant dropped his papers. Julian's mouth hung open. Vanessa's eyes filled with disbelief. That's impossible," she whispered. "Noah, tell them it's not true." Noah looked at her, tender but firm. "It's true, Vanessa. Every word. I just never told you because my grandmother wanted to know if anyone could love me without knowing what I had." Vanessa staggered back. "You mean, you were testing me?" "No," Noah said softly. "I was hoping for you." Tears filled her eyes. "And I failed." Noah sighed. "No, you didn't fail. You just gave up too early." Julian stepped forward, anger rising. "You planned this, didn't you? To humiliate me?" Noah turned to him, expression calm. "Julian, I gave you my friendship. You repaid it by taking my wife. I don't need to humiliate you, the truth does that all by itself." Kendall smirked from the corner. "Amen to that." Vanessa covered her mouth, trying to hold back tears. "Noah, I didn't know." "I know," he replied quietly. "That's the tragedy of it. You never asked to know. You just assumed." Silence settled like dust. The guests stared, phones recording, minds reeling. Vanessa removed her engagement ring, hands trembling. "There won't be a wedding tonight." Julian spun toward her. "Vanessa, think about what you're doing." "I am," she said firmly. "For once, I'm thinking clearly." She turned to the crowd, voice shaking but brave. "Everyone here came to witness a union built on lies. I can't be part of that. So take these flowers, take this food and send it to Harbor House Women's Shelter. Maybe something good can still come out of tonight." The guests began to clap, softly at first, then louder. Noah's gaze softened. That was brave. Vanessa stepped closer, tears glistening under the lights. "You were never small, Noah. I just didn't know how to see it." He smiled sadly. "Maybe we both learned something. You learned that money doesn't buy peace. And I learned that silence doesn't protect love." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Miss Halvorson leaned toward Noah. "Shall we go, Mr. Carter? The board awaits." Noah nodded, turning back to Vanessa. "Take care of yourself." She managed a trembling smile. "And you, take care of the world." He walked away, his silhouette framed by the grand doors, leaving behind the woman who once walked away from him. Outside, the press flooded him with questions, cameras flashing. Noah ignored them all and simply said, Some people lose everything before they realize what they already had. I was one of them. Inside the empty ballroom, Vanessa stood alone among the scattered rose petals, looking at the ring she no longer wore. She whispered, "I wanted wealth, but I lost something priceless." Then she picked up her phone and searched Harbor House shelter donations. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late to change the story. What would you do if you found out the person you left for being broke was secretly worth billions? Do you think Vanessa deserved a second chance, or did Noah make the right choice walking away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more emotional, life-changing stories every week on Billionaire Heartbreak Stories.